Okay, good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. Every month we do a showcase for kids to let them to demonstrate the great things that they're involved in every single day in their classrooms. And today we are fortunate enough to have, under the direction of Mr. Ben Jones, the director of music at Clay Hill Elementary School, is their Chime choir. So this will be live this evening. This is the first time we're going live at 5:45 so that everyone can see this great interaction and for our kids to demonstrate their great work every single day. So under the directions of Mr. Johns, welcome, and this time is yours.
The first song we will be starting with is Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Again, this is the Clay Hill Elementary Bulldog Chime Choir. These boys and girls, I believe we're about 20 in all, which is the largest chime choir I have had to date since we started probably about 6 years ago. We inherited some, when I first started teaching at Clay Hill Elementary, there was no music program. And I was lucky enough to inherit some chimes from a school that was going from K to 8 to just 6th through 8th grade. So I got the chime choir, or the chimes that they had. And when I saw them and was able to get them, I jumped for joy because during my internship, I interned with a great man who had a chime choir that had played at national conventions, at Florida conventions, and was just a phenomenal director. So I was happy to be able to take that and be able to share that with our kids at Clay Hill Elementary. The next song we will be doing is America the Beautiful. These students, as I said, they show up an hour before school. every Tuesday and Wednesday morning in order to rehearse. They make the commitment, the parents make the commitment to get them before school early in the morning, very early in the morning. And some of them are wide awake, and some of them get sent with coffee. But they are a wonderful joy. I am so proud of this group. We had quite a few great students that we lost last year, but we've had a lot of them come in that have really stepped up, and they've made vast improvements. And I'm very proud of what they're doing this year. The next song that we will be doing is a brand new song that I actually just gave to them, 2 weeks ago, that I just arranged and put together. This is My Country, 'Tis of Thee. What's great with the Chime Choir is that it teaches these students responsibility. Not just responsibility for their part and paying attention and knowing that the group is relying on each other and that each one is an integral part of the performance. But we've also taught them responsibility. They set up the tables, they set up the chimes, they set up everything in the morning. They break down everything. You'll hopefully, when we're all done, you'll see them actually together. They will work and we will get everything out when we're all done. They learn to work together with each other, pulling together as a team in order to perform as one. And so, again, this will be our last song. And just to kind of get you started in the holiday mood, we have for you Green Sleeves.
Thank you so very much. With all the parents and guardians that are part of this and take your child every single day in order for them to participate, will you please stand up? Let's give you a round of applause as well. Thank you so very much for what you do every single day. Thank you so very much. Awesome job, Mr. Johns, you and the kids. Thank you so very much. All right. Okay, we're going to get started. I will call to order the organizational meeting of the School Board of Clay County, Florida, the second day of November 2017. This meeting is called in pursuant with Section 1001.371, the Florida statutes, for the purpose of organizing the school board for election of the chair and vice chairperson. I will ask Reverend Hall Hunt from the Church of Good Samaritan to give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I don't have one of those instruments. I did play those bells, but they were more threatening, more of a weapon. Yeah, that's right. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your goodness in creation, for those young people that we've just heard, their gifts, and all the students of Clay County with their realized and unrealized potential. Help them see the value and purpose of their education. Give them a passion to learn. Praise you, Father, for your incredible love for each of them and their parents and caretakers and guardians. We thank you for each family and your great desire for peace and security and tranquility in each home and in our community at large. We know that it is in your hand to grant this, but also acknowledge how you have offered this blessing in the following of your ways as held out to us in your holy word. However, unhappily, we acknowledge our resistance to your ways. Forgive us, Lord, and help us. Lord, thank you, too, for our teachers, their calling, their hard work, their sacrifices, and their hearts for our youth. Grant them your wisdom as well. Strengthen them and help and protect them in their daily service. Grant favor in our students' eyes for them and favor in the eyes of the teachers for their students. God, I pray for your help for us all as we're aware of the many challenges and threats that are facing schools in many places in our nation, and that we may well have to face right here in Clay County. Honestly, frankly, Lord, I pray that you would protect us from having to deal with the most difficult of these. I'm not praying that we would be naive or irresponsible. I'm praying the petition that the greats of our faith often petition you for, that you will guard and protect us from those attacks and challenges. So, Lord, I want to give thanks for this school board, for the superintendent of schools, for your calling, for each of them in their position and service, for their knowledge, their perspectives and gifts. And God, I ask that you would bless and fill them with your wisdom and guidance this year and as they go on, as they address the possible difficult issues ahead, either tonight or going forward. For this selection that I've heard that we're going to have, may the board hold each other in regard. May all who address the board hold them in respect. And may all who bring their concerns be respected. Instead of resistance, Father, incline all our ways, including mine personally, to your ways and our thoughts to yours. We need you, Lord. You promised you would grant this petition if we ask. And I ask, come, Holy Spirit, and be with us in this meeting. Amen. I'm going to lead you in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Play ball.
Thank you, Reverend Hall. You may be seated. I will now open the floor for nominations for chair.
I nominate Carol
Mary
Studdard.
Ma'am?
I nominated Carol Studdard.
And I'll nominate Mrs. Bola.
So one nominee, we have Carol Studdard, has been nominated for chair. Are there any other nominations? Second nomination was
Mrs. Bola.
Mary Bola. We have a nomination for Mary Bola. Are there any further nominations? Okay. Here are no further nominations. I will now close the nominations for chair. All those in favor for Carol Studdard signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. At this time,
That was the majority?
my understanding is that that is the majority.
I didn't quite see.
Sorry.
Three?
We have 3 votes.
Yes, that's correct.
That is the majority. So Carol Studdard has received the majority of vote and will serve as chair moving forward. Okay. I now open the floor for nominations for vice chairs. Calling those.
Betsy Condon.
Purpose of the nomination is Betsy Condon has been nominated for vice chair. Do we have any other further nominations for vice chair? Okay, no further nominations. I now close the nominations for vice chair. All those in favor for Betsy Condon signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Congratulations, Mrs. Condon. You have received the majority of votes and will serve as vice chair. All right. All right. So before I conclude this organization meeting, I want to ask if Mrs. Karakis will step down with me. We'll go. Okay, Ms. Karakis. So I will tell you, I came in November, and I be honest, and I was open, and I'm always reflective. I was a rookie superintendent. I really didn't, I've driven a lot of schools and complex schools and boutique schools, but understanding the day-to-day operations as relates to driving the work from sitting in the chair to drive the district, I really didn't know the ins and the outs. My agenda formats sometimes weren't the greatest. Sometimes they were in the wrong spot. You openly told me you were consistent with your measures, you were focused, you were intense, and you always circulated to make decisions based on kids. One thing I can say that you've done well as a chair, you have held me accountable, you've held this board accountable, you've held my staff accountable, and for that I thank you. At the end of the day, you've helped me grow personally and professionally, and you were completely transparent and honest in every conversation that we've ever had, whether it's a good conversation or it's a accountable conversation. But nonetheless, I've learned so much. In addition, I guess we had one meeting where we had the question called, and I think we were talking about a notebook, one of the handbooks, and they said someone called the question, and I yelled, "Why is there another question? Let's finish talking about this one." And they're like, "Dude, you have to be quiet. You can't say any more." I went home that night, the next day, wanting to know why I can't continue my conversation. Well, because when someone calls the question, you can no longer speak. So I guess it's over. And, I still want to try to figure out how I can change that. I don't think I can. But Ms. Karakis, whether she's kicking me on the side of the table, be quiet, or, just keeping me straight. And those are opportunities that you've helped me grow professionally. I didn't know you could call a question. I just want to talk about everything. Y'all have seen me talk about it. And you've also helped me address some delicate situations and difficult times. And you've helped me be a better leader, how to interact more people in decision making in order for us to move this county forward. I am thankful for you to be the chair during my first year as superintendent. And I'm appreciative, and I want to recognize you for being the chair for last year and your 7 years in loyal dedication to the school district. And congratulations for your hard work, Ms. Chairman, Mrs. Janice Karakis.
I will. Just move this down a bit. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you to everybody here, all our employees, parents of all our students that let us do this, and Superintendent, thank you for those very kind words, and my fellow board members. I really appreciate everything that we've done together as a group. It's truly an honor to be elected and represent our community. And I don't mean that to sound campaigny, it's the truth, and I take it to heart. And serving as your chair was a true privilege to me. It took me 6 years to get there, and I feel that, whether you're chair or a board member, we can all be very effective. We've come a long way. We work really well together. We're getting better. We're growing. We're doing better. And I know that this board is going to bring us back into the top 10 in the state of Florida. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, and all our staff. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Good job. Yep. So this concludes the organizational portion of this meeting. I now turn,
Superintendent.
we need to switch seats, sorry.
We didn't do the date and time.
Ooh, I think that I was going to hand that to the
Oh,
chair,
were
but
you?
if you want me to do it, I can keep rolling.
It was on this agenda.
All righty, I'll keep going. All right. All right, so the next item of the organizational board meeting is to establish dates and times for the schedule of the regular schedule school board meetings for the upcoming year. Please note that this, I don't need to read this part. So, at this time, any board members for seeking to push for approval for identification of dates?
I would move that we keep them at the same date and time with the exception of the July 4th holiday and move that to Thursday, June 28th, and all meetings to be held at this location at 6 p.m.
I'll
Second that.
Okay, so we have a second. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no? Okay, that passes 5-0. Motion carries. All right, this adjourns the organizational part. We're going to switch some seats, and I'm going to transition this gavel back, so thank you. All right. Congratulations. Ms. Stutter. Congratulations, Ms. Condon. I will move your name tags.
Oh.
Mr. Connor, you got that. Thank you, Mr. Connor. Mr. Connor's going to play Vanna.
I think y'all know who we are, so.
I'm just trying to get straightened here. All right, look here. Are they? I'm not trying. All right. Give me just a minute, ladies. We've got to get. Okay, so there. Did this one too? What you think? Is that the one that,
It's on the back. It's this one.
I thought she was. So do Or no, you're gonna move that to discussion. You're gonna move it to discussion,
So
okay.
she will speak before.
He said it's like riding a bike. It'll come back to me. It's always a little bit different, though. All right. I got to sign in. Just. I don't. You can look at my password.
While we're waiting, I'd like to acknowledge that Chris is back from his service with the National Guard. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, Nathan thought he got a free night off, but he's here to support him. He's not here. He left already? Okay. Maybe not.
It just occurred to me, Mrs. Studdard, this is your 8th term as chairman.
Well, maybe I'll get it right this go around.
You're chairman more times than any of us have been on this board.
I gotta feel y'all guard.
Thank you,
25 years.
and we appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. I've just got to get organized here. Let's see what's going on here.
Give you some more space.
I'm good. Okay. I'd like to call to order, you called to order the organization meeting. This is a different meeting.
This is your meeting, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I'll behave. I'm sitting over here.
Could you hear that?
You did a great job.
Good, okay. I'd like to call the regular meeting of November 2nd, 2017 of the Clay County School Board to order. Welcome, citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card which you will find located in the back of the room and indicate the specific agenda item number or topic you wish to speak about and turn it in promptly. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. So, first on the agenda is the recognition and awards. First of all, let me mention the artwork on display this month is from Lake Asbury Junior High, Cynthia Smith, art teacher. So if you would observe around the walls the beautiful artwork. And thank you, Lake Asbury Junior High and Ms. Smith. Ridgeview High School, Florida Power Library System, Terry Connor.
Good evening. Terry Connor, Chief of Secondary Education. I have the distinct honor of recognizing one of our schools tonight. The Florida Power Library Schools Award provides statewide recognition to schools that nurture focused systemic change through the involvement of the entire school staff in developing and implementing a plan that integrates the library media program with teacher collaboration and student achievement. The competitive application process is designed to identify school library media programs throughout the state that meet the outstanding criteria outlined in its evaluation rubric, and they are evaluated on 6 categories: instruction, curriculum assessment support, resource management, program administration, environment, and advocacy. Tonight, I'm glad to say that one of our Clay County high schools has achieved such a distinction. So I would like for Ridgeview High School Principal Deborah Segreto, Media Specialist Julie Miller, and Media Specialist Darlene Goodyear to please come up and receive your certificates. And we want to thank you for really going out of your way to bring a spotlight to Clay County by achieving this wonderful award.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Under presenters, Orange Park Medical Center Partnership Agreement. I'll turn this over to Superintendent Davis.
Yes, ma'am, and through the chair, we have had a partnership with the Orange Park Medical Center for a couple of years. And I will tell you, it's been an awesome partnership under the direction of, and if you'll just wave when I call your name, Mr. Chad Patrick, CEO. Let's give him a round of applause. Awesome room. And also Mrs. Andrea Hepburn as well. Thank you so very much. And I know I don't see Carrie here. Is Carrie here? Not here. She's not here, but we get Carrie, Mrs. Turansky as well, some love as well. But overview, you know, for this is where Orange Park Medical Center, the partnership has been so great. And but this is a partnership where they are contributing $30,000 to our school district. And that $30,000 really goes to a number of sponsorships through our school district and also a number of programs. This partnership has done great work with creating opportunities for events, promoting our community partnership, through looking at Math Field Day, for looking at supporting our Rotary Science and Engineering Fair, to look at our chorus concerts. They support our art shows, summer programming, STEM robotics, and they support 10 programs within our school district. They provide field trips to our second graders so they can go to the hospital and be involved in the teddy bear, I think it's a teddy bear clinic as well. There we go. And they also provide first aid and activities at our sporting events, along with providing ongoing education at those events to our stakeholders, our community members, our students, our caregivers, in order to explain and help them better understand health and wellness and what they bring to our community. So this evening I am asking the board to ratify, or to confirm and agree and vote on supporting this agreement between the school board along with the Orange Park Medical Center Partnership Agreement.
Okay.
All right.
Before we do this, let's see, I need a motion to
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
have a motion by Ms. Gilhausen and a second by Ms. Kirikas. Any discussion?
I just want to say how great it is that they partner with us. You've been partnering a long time, and I know we've added those new programs, the Teddy Bear Clinic and a couple of others, and just thank you from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate it because we wouldn't be able to do what we do without our community support, so it means a lot to us. Thank you.
So with this, I'd add, go ahead, sorry.
We need to vote.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Can't vote. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Now,
Thank
your
you.
turn.
Through the chair, sorry, I'm trying to get ahead of myself. I'd ask that if you, Ms. Chairman, will please join me in the Orange Park Medical Center at the podium to sign this agreement. And while we're doing this, we thank Mr. Patrick and Mrs. Hepburn for everything that they've done and continue to do. Special thanks to Mr. Wingate, Mrs. Kim Cox, and Mr. Michael Karikas for putting this together and making this a reality. We thank you, and we look forward to this continued agreement. I think Chad may already signed. Uh-oh. Chad's already signed. I'm gonna sign. I'm gonna sign. I don't know if you wanna. That's an awesome job. Good job. So, then we gotta sign twice. Yes, ma'am. Right here. I think we got one more. Let me see. We have one more. If I don't get both signatures, I'll be in trouble. If y'all can do it one more time. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you, sir. See that awesome signature? Please don't try to steal my pen. It's my good pen. There we go. Awesome. At this time, if we ask the entire board to come down and take a picture. We would appreciate it. Oh. This is a big check. This means we got to go to a big bank. Okay. Take a picture, right? Yes, I'll see if we can scan it in now, everyone.
Alrighty. Get that.
Okay, next on the agenda is our school showcase. Mr. Scott Boyko, principal of Grove Park Elementary School.
Ms. Studdard, I heard an O there, right at the front. You recognize me? Was that a good O or a bad O?
Good O or bad O?
Always a good O.
What is he
It's a good
talking
one, right?
Oh,
Oh,
it's a good O, Mr.
Good
Voico.
O.
It's a good O, right?
I was thinking.
Through
the chair.
You might be in this presentation, Ms. Studdard, so it's kind of like a Where's Waldo if you can find you in this presentation.
Oh, I hope so. If you've got, this is where Miss Caracas and I mentor, so I hope I'm in there.
Superintendent Davis, School Board, thank you for allowing me to showcase our school. I'm Scott Voick, I'm the principal of Grove Park Elementary School, and this is my 4th year at Grove Park. And there you are, Ms. Studdard. Tell you a little bit about Grove Park Elementary. We serve 475 students, actually 480 as of this morning. Students in kindergarten through 6th grade. We're a direct certified school with approximately 85% free and reduced lunch rate. And we have an exceptional community support from the town of Orange Park and from the Orange Park Rotary Clubs, which Ms. Caracas and Ms. Studdard are involved in. We have about 50 mentors that come from those 3 organizations that mentor students at our school. To tell you a little bit about our out-of-this-world strengths, if you can't tell, our theme this year is out of this world. I would say our greatest strength, if you walked the classrooms with us, would be our school culture. And it wasn't just a couple of years ago where Grove Park Elementary actually had the most referrals of any elementary school in the county. Had 450, I remember, in my first year. This year, we're on track to have less than 160 referrals. And I don't want to judge us just based on having less referrals, but what has been going great is not only, of course, our wonderful, caring, and hardworking staff, but it's also our PBIS program, which is Growing Great Gators. It's the G3 way, and we ask students to be respectful, be responsible, and be safe in everything that they do at school. And they have a recognition ticket every time they get caught doing that move, and this is what I really want to highlight. To date, we have 45 referrals or so, but G3 tickets, we've given out, as of today, over 18,500 G3 tickets to our 475 students. And so just a testament of us recognizing and being proactive in recognizing the behaviors we want to see. Academically, our strength is in our math and our English language arts learning gains last year. We grew in both areas by 8 points, and in both of those areas categorically, we scored as a B school, and in the reading learning gains, we were 2 points from an A school if you just look at reading learning gains. So we have some great learning going on at our school, and that's our big highlight on the academic side. We also have some great accomplishments. I say we were the first to be out of this world in several areas. I remember several years ago, we were really seeking an alternative intervention program. I kind of refer to us sometimes as trailblazers in this, or in a lot of the things where we were the first to do. But we were looking for an alternative intervention program as we had a lot of our students reading below grade level, multiple years below grade level. And I remember seeking out an intervention program, and that's where I met Dr. Stallman when she was retired from Duval. Did not realize she would end up being my evaluator just a few months later. But I met with Dr. Stallman, a phenomenal principal with a great reputation in Duval County, and she talked to us about getting a new intervention program. We ended up purchasing that program, implement it, and now today we're a model school for that intervention program, as it has been adopted in all 26 elementary schools. We were also the first school to abandon Apple and adopt Chromebooks, which I'm very proud of. I don't know if everybody's proud of that, but I'm very proud of it, and getting Chromebooks on our campus. We were the first to go 1-to-1 K-6. We were one of the first to adopt our new math curriculum, Eureka, in all grades K-6. And then we were the first to ensure that all K-5 students receive small group instruction every day in reading and math. And that's not us telling, hey, we need every student to get small group. That's a system and a structure in place to make sure and ensure that every student has 30 minutes of reading and math small group instruction. And then to highlight on that, this is actually an image from last month's school board presentation that Mr. Davis pointed out. This is just a model that you would see in every K-5 classroom on our campus. What you'd see is in this case, there's two reading groups going on, one on the far left, or you can kind of see me in the corner, and one way on the right that's out of the picture. And then our other students are getting their differentiated instruction using iReady on Chromebooks. And so we're able to hit kids small group at their level, and then we also get them again on their computer time. And this is just a model that you would see at any point, any minute of our day in kindergarten through 5th grade. We do have growth opportunities. Although we were highly effective in reading and math on our VAM, we have been a C school. And that's not something I'm overly proud of. And I think we are on the verge of a breakthrough. As I mentioned earlier, I have the pleasure of working with just one of the most hardest working, caring staff that a principal could be blessed with. And it's my job to lead us through, and I have the feeling, as our staff does, that we are all just on the verge of a breakthrough as you walk through the classrooms of our school. And so that's our job, and that's our growth opportunity here, is to get out of the C and show the world the great work that we are doing. One of our big areas we're working on and with our coaches is making sure that we cite text evidence in the way we speak, the way we read, the way our kids discuss at every part of the day in our English language arts, our social studies and science classrooms. What you see here is this is another new program, Achieve 3000 here at our school, and that's Kelly Rada for our reading coach working with our 4th grade teacher Courtney Burkholz through an Achieve 3000 lesson where they had established an essential question of should commercial airline jets carry weather sensors? And so they were writing an informative essay on why it would be a good idea for commercial airlines to do that. And so Ms. Rodover here was guiding students through this Achieve 3000 article and through a response to text where students had to cite evidence to support their reasons of why this would be a good idea to do and to put these on commercial airlines. We also have some out-of-this-world extracurricular activities. Of course, we have our track team, our math team, and our chorus. But three I want to really highlight on is my favorite, our 6th grade Chromebook Repair Club. And we have a great IT staff, so this isn't against you, Nathan. We have a great IT staff. But our students actually love fixing our Chromebooks. And so we've had a 1-to-1 ratio. We have 4 different types of Chromebooks because we've been buying them since over 4 years, so we have several different types. And pictured on the right, this is Rachel and Olivia. They will do screen repair. They'll change out screens, they change out batteries, and they replace keys. When kids flick off the keys, they'll replace the keys too for you. So that is our 6th grade Chromebook Repair Club right there, and they do a great job, and we keep the issues from getting to issue track. We have our Gator Girls Club. That's a female empowerment club for our 5th and our 6th grade girls. And then last but not least, one of my favorite clubs is our photography club, and that's for 6th graders. And you can actually come into our school now at any point in time, and you will see their photography, their photos of our school and multiple areas of our school. They're framed. We have now taken the glass out of the frames. We've learned our lesson. They've been falling off the wall and smashing. So you will see frames on the wall with these our photography, and any guest is welcome to take one. And so it's just a little way to remember Grove Park when you come and visit. So at any point in time, you'll see in our front office our photography club and pictures they've taken of our campus, their work. It is all framed and ready to go, just missing the glass, so make sure you get the glass in the front office. And it's just a way to remember Grove Park. So that's for any guest that enters our school. I thank you again for allowing me to showcase our school, and hope you have a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Good job. Through the chair, Scott, I will tell you this, actually, excellent job tonight, and I think it's a fabulous idea for kids to be engaged to problem solve with the repairs of IT. All principals out there watching this, that's awesome. At the end of the day, I will tell you from last year to this year, I do see tremendous growth. So keep doing hard work, continue to celebrate your teachers, and thank you for your focus.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyko. Scheduled citizens' requests, there are none. This is the last call for cards. If anyone wants to turn in a card under public comments. Okay, well, we will proceed. Presentations from the audience. First one would be Joel Miller. I think he brought the youngest attendee to a board meeting that I can remember, 3 months old, I believe. Is he gone?
He is walking around outside. In fact,
Oh, okay.
I was supposed to text my
Hey,
wife to
he's
tell her
in
to come in,
advance
but
3
there's
months
no way I
before.
thought I was going to be first, so she'll just have to see it on YouTube, I guess. Okay, I want to talk tonight about insurance because I'm a little bit concerned when I look at what's happening, and I want to tell you, I'm very happy to get a $1,000 bump. I'm very happy to do that for 2 years in a row. I think that that is a great progress for us because I'm tired of negotiation. I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room that feels that way. I'm sure the negotiators feel really, really tired of negotiation. But the insurance is increasing at an alarming rate, and I don't think there's any indication that it's going to slow down. I mean, I think if we are honest and we look at the numbers and we look at the economy, we look at the way that that the market has worked in general. And so for me personally, or for my wife and I personally, our cost went up from $1,533 last year to $2,720 this year. So it raised by about $1,187. For the average person that's just a teacher, it raised by about $600. That cannibalizes a lot of the pay increase. When we talk about a $1,000 pay increase, insurance has eaten that alive. And since I actually am a dinosaur that can remember before the time that the state of Florida decided that 3% of all of our checks had to be sent off for our retirement, I've run some numbers on it, and I'm making about just a little bit less than I was making 7-8 years ago. And that's without even factoring cost of living updates in there that, by looking at the consumer price index. But then when you look at that on top of it, the cost for insuring a family is insane. For us to insure my kids, in addition with me, it cost us $6,775 per month. Now, to do that, we would have a deductible of, a family deductible of $6,000, $3,000 per kid. We'd also have an out-of-pocket max of $12,300 or $12,350. I can't keep track anymore. But my son, who is a special needs child and who is at the absolutely fantastic program at Doctors Inlet with Karen Ritchie, I'd be remiss if I didn't name drop her here because they do such a wonderful job. He goes to speech therapy, and he goes about 40 times a year, and the cost of speech therapy under our plan would be $65. That would cost us $29.25 per year if we had the plan, but the plan that he's under right now that's an outside of the county plan, that costs us nothing. I had to buy a Florida Blue Platinum plan for my other son and I'm actually still in a back and forth with United because they put him on our insurance, and I'm saying, no, I can't afford to pay for him with our insurance. I need you to put him on this other insurance. And I understand that right now we're not bargaining insurance. I don't understand why. I'm not going to try to get into why. I don't have enough information. I do know this. If we don't do something about insurance, all of the pay raises in the world are going to mean nothing. I'm a numbers guy. I love to make spreadsheets. I do understand that costs are increasing, but I also understand that the cost of the district has not increased in 7 years. I know that there have been other things, but when we have a lapse the size we do, I'd like to see that somehow worked in. And that's all I have to say. Did I say all the right things at the beginning? Address on file? Okay. Thank you.
The next speaker is Jennifer Burkhart. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Burkhart, and my address is 2765 Secret Harbor Drive, Orange Park, Florida. I also wanted to speak about insurance. I think I can't say it any better than the gentleman who just went before me. But my husband and I, we are both teachers in Clay County, so we don't really have an option of choosing any other insurance. Insurance is just astronomical in cost when you go outside of your employer. However, with our condition, it's astronomical even with our employer. So we have to do a family plan. We have 2 kids. We looked at doing it through the state, and it was pretty much just as bad. So I just wanted to reiterate that what the gentleman said before. We were very grateful to get, it was like a $600 raise last year, and then this year as well, we got the 1,000, the 1,000 next. But as was already stated, that entire raise is negated for the cost that my take-home salary for the start of this year, because literally the insurance cost was exceeded that $600 raise we got. So because of the family plan having increased, it was like I'm literally taking home less money this year at the start of this year in August, based on the cost of insurance increasing. So as a result, it's negated. So we really need to address the insurance. Now I'm going to kind of flip sides as well, because it's just a fact. We need to hopefully get some assistance with the insurance. I also wanted to address curriculum maps. I'm an inclusion English teacher. I have over 80 students. I have learning disabled students. I have hearing impaired students. I have language impaired students. I have speech impaired students. I have emotional behavioral disability students. I have students, about 70% of my students are level 1 and 2s. I have several autistic students, or ones that are classified as ASD on the autism spectrum. So I have 2 of them that are level 5s that are reading at like 1370 level, Achieve 3000 levels, all in the same class. And now this year, 9th and 10th grade, which is what I teach, has been given a curriculum map, which is pretty much standardizing the curriculum across all of those grade levels across the entire county. So we're teaching the same stories, the same works at the same exact time all across it. Well, I've taught 10 years as an inclusion English teacher, and I can tell you that one way to get my students motivated is to encourage that the content I pick is appropriate, challenging, but also engaging. So for instance, in the 9th grade curriculum app, we started off with the I Have a Dream speech. That's amazing, absolutely should be taught. But to start with a group of students, who many of which are not reading on grade level, and forcing all of this nonfiction down their throat is not ideal at all. You need to start getting them engaged, especially my students, with at least fiction to start off, and then you can tie in and incorporate the nonfiction. I teach high-level works. I teach the Odyssey to my kids. I teach Romeo and Juliet to my kids. Yes, even level 1s can handle it if you have the appropriate scaffolding. But I also tie in engaging things to make them interested. And I felt like, frankly, that we're being somewhat tied down. And this isn't just inclusion, this is also regular. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Liz Crane.
Can I ask a quick question? The curriculum maps, was that something that was district level? Where did that come from?
Yeah, when you adopt curriculum, you got to have curriculum maps and guides that direct when you teach standards, what you cover, and then suggested information for what you have to have high-level text with essential questions and essential learnings. That's standard. And the piece that she just spoke about, that's a high-level piece and should be taught. It could be taught immediately. So it's teachers. When we talk about teachers and their ability to be unique, we never want to stifle that at all. Teachers know what their kids actually need every single day, and we encourage them to use supplemental materials that they need in order to meet the learner where they are. But we want to make certain that from our side that we give a clear direction of how you teach standards, when you teach standards, and give them some suggested recommendations as it relates to literary elements to be exposed and be in front of them.
And that was new this year, though?
No, it's been practiced for a long time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
Okay.
So, but I will tell you openly,
alter it maybe?
high level information out of the gate, which should be in front of kids all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Crane.
Good evening, Liz Crane, National Board Certified Teacher, Early Childhood Generalist. You have my address on file. Good evening. I missed last month's meeting due to working late in my classroom. I heard that I was a topic of conversation, so I went back and watched the meeting. Wow. Kindergarten was talked about a lot and by individuals who have never taught kindergarten. Oh, what to do about kindergarten. We kinder teachers hear that many times. Yes, kindergarten is a unique grade in that our children are the youngest students in general elementary classes. For them, they are in the world of firsts. First time in a big school, first time being alone without a parent, first time in a cafeteria, first time walking in line, first time doing schoolwork with a pencil or a crayon. They are young, they are cute, they are adorable, they love to learn and to please all of their teachers. Our classes consist of students who are 6 and students who enter kindergarten at the age of 4. Our classes consist of students who can already read and students who do not know how to write their names or hold a pencil. We have students who need extensive help. Case in point, I once had a student who had an IQ of less than 70, and that student was not the lowest one in my class. On the first day of school, our students have 3 things that are of utmost importance to them. When do I go home? Where is the bathroom? And when is lunch? At the end of the year, they are expected to read as an example, and I have an example. The boat went past the sailboat. This boat went past the sailboats. Look out, said the sailors. Look out for the rocks. That's what they need to be able to read at the end of the year. They are also expected to add and subtract. They're expected to do all these things, including other school-like expectations, walk quietly in the hall, carry a lunch tray from the lunch line to their seat, blow their nose, tie their shoes, learn their student ID number and password. The list goes on. They've been on the planet for 70 months. Last month, there was a lot of discussion about assessment and the number of minutes a kinder is assessed. The first question needs to be asked is, what do you mean by assessment? If you mean pencils in hands and a class-wide assessment with a Scantron booklet, then our time spent on assessment would be very short. Kinder assessment is done one-on-one. We look at their letter and sound knowledge, sight words, numbers, counting, shapes. We also do running records on each student weekly. We assess their writing by conferencing. If a student is having particular problems, we tend to look at developmental type assessment. Can Joey stand on one foot? Can he hop? What does his self-portrait look like? I will tell you, if a student draws me a floating head, I know that there's going to be a problem later on. We do not have the ability to look at a previous year's teacher and speak to them. Many times our discussions with parents include home life, pregnancy, toddler years. When did your child start to crawl? When did your child start to walk? All of these things lead up to how they will do in school. The number one question I am asked by my students is not, when can I do more work, Ms. Crane? The number one question is, wait for it, when can I play? Kinder teachers learn a lot by watching children play. Does the child play with other children, or are they side-by-side playing? Can they build with Legos or blocks? What does their creation look like? Is it flat? Does it have depth and height? What conversations do they have when they play? Long ago, we had dress-up corners and housekeeping corners. The children have not outgrown these play centers. We have. Our priorities and expectations for children have changed. We forgot about one thing, though. We forgot about them and what is their priority. At the end of the year, the priorities for kindergartners are still the same. When do I go home? Where is the bathroom? And when is lunch and playtime? I ask that we remember our youngest learners. We are not to question what to do with. Sorry, let me reread that. We are not a question of what to do with. We are the beginning. We are a very important beginning. We are the first. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Melissa Kaplan.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Kaplan and my address is on file. At the last insurance committee meeting, we heard that we are at a 104% loss ratio, which means that we paid out more in claims than we took in through premiums. Last year, we were able to obtain a 10% rate cap guarantee for 1 year. I have been a voting member of this committee for several years, and it is hard work. I have resigned from all committees and union board positions, and insurance was only one of the reasons for my resignation. Let me make clear to you that I am speaking as a Clay County teacher, and these are my personal views. Most of you sitting here tonight know me, and you know that I tell it like it is, and I've been accused a time or two of being too passionate about an issue. It's what I do. When I see something that is unfair and unjust, I will speak. Questions lead to answers, so school board, I have a few questions, and I'm looking for answers from you. Insurance is a benefit, even if most of us don't consider it much of a benefit these days. It's still a benefit that must be bargained. Status quo is not bargaining. The teachers' union had put an insurance proposal across the table at the second bargaining session this year, and it was rescinded, I believe was the word used, at the fourth session. Mr. Dietzen said that they were costing out the proposal, which I believe was $300. The union took back their proposal and said they would only bargain salary increases and would stay with current insurance contract language. When I asked why, I was told insurance doesn't affect everyone, but raises do. Past practice has been that the teachers have bargained the school board's insurance contribution for our health plans that affect all enrolled employees. I cannot and I will not sit and watch our union not bargain for insurance benefits. You're my last hope. In the latest Facebook post, it is true that we don't have a bargaining chip big enough to make the school board increase their contribution, but we can at least attempt to bargain and not withdraw our proposal to keep it at status quo. When I brought that up, that past practice has been that teachers have bargained the school board's insurance contribution for our health plans that affect all enrolled employees. This was met with a response of, they are not part of our bargaining unit. While they are not part of our bargaining unit, they are part of this district. My grandmother taught me that when you see an injustice, you stand up and you speak about it, which is why I am standing here tonight speaking to you. There is a statement out there that says the only way that dollar amount will ever change is if it is initiated by the school board. This actually is somewhat of an incorrect statement, as my experience on previous bargaining committees is that we initiated those conversations with the board's bargaining team. So let's make that a true statement. Therefore, I'm asking that this school board do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. If you never ask the question, the answer will always be no. You have another bargaining session on November 15th, which might possibly be when the contract is settled. I'm asking that the school board pay the single coverage cost. I'm asking also that you direct your bargaining team to put a cross language to pay the single coverage cost so that all employees can see a pay raise. The latest proposal agreed to was for a 2-year contract with a $1,000 increase this year, which barely covers the cost of insurance, and $1,000 increase next year. That's what's on the bargaining table and has been tentatively agreed to at this point. That sounds great until you remember the insurance costs I talked about a minute ago. That 104% loss ratio, uncharted territory for us. Our insurance went up 10% this year instead of the 34% because of the rate cap guarantee that no longer exists. What do you think is going to happen next year? You will find out in March when you get your insurance proposals. Let me be very clear here. If the contract as it is currently proposed was up for voting today, I would vote a resounding no, and I would encourage all of my fellow teachers to vote no. You can do better than this. You should do better than this. Stay with us 1-year deal for now until you see what happens with insurance costs. We have never been in this boat before with a loss ratio over 100%. This is uncharted territory. Send your bargaining team to the insurance committee meetings and become informed. A 2-year deal with no increase in the board's contribution is, in my opinion, a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. If this does not become our contract, or if this does become our contract as it currently is, then the teachers, I will encourage every single one watching to say no. You can do better.
The next speaker, Stella, is it Nans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Stella Naines. My address is on file, and I have 2 children in Clay County Schools. One is in kindergarten and one is in 6th grade. I am fortunate that I am able to spend a lot of time volunteering at the school, so this gives me great insight for the topic I would like to discuss, which is the amount of time being spent on testing. Like I said, I have a kindergartner going to first grade next year. Over the years, I've seen a massive push towards technology-based instruction and testing, and it is important, part of learning. However, it has gotten completely out of hand. Is it really state mandated to have so much testing? I'm curious as to why there is such a substantial increase proposed for the lower grades, especially if it's on programs that are to be used as supplements. As a parent, when I think of the lower grade curriculums, I think not only of the basics such as counting and learning to read, but also learning self-advocacy, communication, and learning how to be social within different personalities. I see all of you sitting up there, and I think how you got to be in your position, because I want my children to be just as successful as you. I see attorneys, engineers, nurses, teacher of the year. I see a teacher that subsequently became a superintendent. I see people whose careers require excellent language and communication skills, problem-solving abilities, capability for collaboration on projects, presentation excellence, and social skills. All of these start at home, but are developed and really tested in the classroom, where there is such a diversity of personalities. I hope that more questions are asked and answers regarding the testing and the time it is taking away from actual teaching and student collaboration. I encourage school board members to speak to the teachers, if you have not already done so, regarding these supplemental programs, because from the conversation that took place in the last school board meeting, it is clear the programs were sold to you as one thing and now have become something entirely different. Ask the teachers what they think about the testing and find out what information the teachers are receiving directly from Mr. Davis. The second topic I would like to address is workplace satisfaction. When I read that 80% of the teachers in this county have thought about leaving the profession, I get very concerned. 80% of the employees that directly impact my children on a daily basis don't want to work as teachers anymore. A mere 2% strongly agree that you, the superintendent of the school board, and the school board agree that a mere 2% strongly agree that you value their input, while a whopping 32% strongly disagree that you value their input. This is particularly personal to me because I worked for 20 years in a HR department for a multi-billion-dollar company that sells bath and body products. And the most important thing I learned is that people want to work for other people, not particularly the company that they work for. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last card is Catherine Morrison.
Good evening. I'm Catherine Morrison, and my address is on file. First, I want to say I am a 12-year veteran as a teacher in Clay County, but prior to that, I was a substitute for Clay County. And as a teacher, I am completely frustrated with our substitute system with Kelly Services. They are not reliable. As a teacher, I put in hours of time after I've already taught all day to plan for a sub and lay everything out so that anybody could come in. And I've had multiple times where the subs have come in and I said on my plans, open the book to page such and such, answer the questions. I come back and the sub was there because it was a half day. I was in a meeting, I wasn't even, or in a training, I wasn't even on a personal day. Come back and the sub goes, I didn't understand. I don't understand how you don't understand. Open the book, turn to page, whatever it was, and answer the questions. But anyway, Kelly Services, even if you get a sub 3 weeks prior to you taking off, the day of, they're gone. Boom, no sub. Now, not only have I stressed about leaving my children behind, but now I've gone, oh my God, who's going to take my class? Why did I spend 7 hours planning for a 6.5-hour day and no sub? Before, when I was a sub, the principals or the principal secretary called and set up subs. I was set. I worked almost every single day of the week at multiple schools in the county. And I was on a special call list because I was reliable. Kelly subs are not reliable. They take a job, they throw it away. They cancel it. Teachers stress enough as it is to get ready for the subs, whether it's a personal day or whether it's a professional activity, whether we have to go to a training or we have to go to a meeting or we have to whatever, go to wherever. And it shouldn't be, we don't need that extra stress. We need to take back, this county needs to take back the responsibility of the subs. The principals used to evaluate the subs. I had to go in and speak to the principals at every school that I subbed for, and each one of them evaluated me. Our principals don't do that anymore. If we don't like a sub, we have to call Kelly Services and say, hey, don't send that sub again. And it's not fair. Teachers don't have enough time to keep calling and keep plugging in. And why are they notifying us that their sub has canceled? Why aren't they notifying the front office? And then we're stuck. I'm in Orlando in a meeting, and I get a call from my team and said, they're going to split your class. I'm like, what? I had a sub. That's not fair. Take it back. Be responsible, not only to the kids, but to the teachers.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Excuse me?
May I speak, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Davis, I'd like to ask you to look into this for Kelly Services. I know the first year we had him, you were not our superintendent here.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
had lots of complaints and lots of problems, and it seemed like things had settled down, and, but I know prior to them, exactly what Ms. Morrison said. Principals had their subs that knew their kids, that saw them grow through the grade levels. They knew they were reliable. They had a system. And when the sub came in that was a regular sub at that school, business was as usual. It wasn't play day. And so I would like us to readdress that contract. And I also find it offensive that they're advertising for the Clay County Public Schools.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not the Clay County Public Schools. We're the Clay County School
ma'am.
District.
Yes, ma'am.
So they're not even using the correct name. So I
Okay.
would like that to come back to us.
I agree, Ms. Karakis, that this needs to be looked at. When we went with Kelly, and I honestly don't remember how many years ago it's been, does someone know right off the
I
top
think
of
it was
their
3 years ago.
I'm
sorry, 3 or 4.
It's been at least that or more.
4 years.
But how many?
4.
4 years ago, okay. The reason that, as I recall, that we looked at going with Kelly was the insurance. And we didn't see another way to go about it, and I don't know about the rest of the board, but I've heard a lot of complaints about this service. I don't know if the insurance would still be an issue.
The thing about the insurance is that you have to, any employee who works over 35 hours a week has to be offered insurance. So it's someone to track the subs, but
We used to have a department that did that in-house.
yeah, and I don't know if they're at risk of running where I shouldn't go, Mr. Daggett, you can wave to me, but I don't know if they're bargained, and therefore, if they are not, is there a way that we could just offer the insurance to all the subs, and they could just, if they want to buy it, they can buy it, but we wouldn't contribute, or I don't know if there's a way that we can look at that, and I know Mr. Broski's not here, I'm not going to put that on you.
Let's don't tiptoe into an area that.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I just am saying, I think it's.
I think what I'm hearing from the board, would you like for Mr. Davis to do a little investigation, look into that and
And
come
I
back?
would be curious, because I know that the requirement for insurance for people that work 35 hours came under the previous federal administration. So I don't know if under this current administration, if there's a movement to change that, or if it's already been changed. I think that we need to look into that as well.
I agree.
The other side of this that occurs to me is, does apply for Mr. Daggett. If you could look at that contract for us, Madam Chair, if you could ask Mr. Daggett to look at that contract for us, because, because I was under the impression that there was a fulfillment percentage that they had to meet in that contract, and I'd be interested to know if they're meeting that, and if they're meeting it on a technicality, and I'd like for us to communicate to them our disservice, or our dissatisfaction with their service.
And through the chair, I will do, and I wrote down tons of notes, so I will look at how many subs are we asking to cover per day. That goes to figuring out, the attendance issues that we may have. We have a number of teachers at professional learning. The number of positions that are average are being filled and not filled. I will look at what our accountability measures are to hold them accountable to meet their threshold and how often they are not. To look at any clauses within this contract through Mr. D'Agata. I will look at comparative, whether it's a causation for them not to come to us. Is it a pay issue? Is it are we competitive with surrounding counties? I look at the pros and cons for owning the subs as you did in the past, why we elected to move transition, and then look at transition that a teacher should be a second tier of being contacted when a sub's not there. The administration and the front office should be the first contact. So all these notes are taken. We'll follow up.
Mr. And as long as we're talking, hearsay and gossip and phone calls you've received, I remember also getting phone calls that people who had been regular subs in they'll get one or two schools and they just sub there all the time, and the administration knows these people and they use them. But I did get I remember getting a phone call from one of these ladies and was told that they were bringing in unknown subs from the adjoining county, and that the regular subs were not being used. So I would like to know if there's any validity to that too. But then you want to bring it back to us?
I'll do it on follow-up.
Okay.
Could I add something as well,
Sure.
please?
Certainly.
When we went with Kelly Services 4 years ago, I used to be a sub also before I became a teacher, and it was an excellent experience to become a teacher. Not only did we have difficulty finding subs, but they also, the people who had been our substitutes, those that we could go to the principal secretary or the office manager and say, I need a sub, I would like even so-and-so. I mean, we could specify. We lost a lot of our subs during that time. That's why a lot of our people weren't called, because they lowered the price.
Yeah.
They lowered the pay for our subs to meet the Kelly Services price. Our subs were being paid more
Sure.
than our adjoining counties, and fortunately, you can still request a person,
If
but
available.
it is much more difficult.
And if I recall, the price of the contract with Kelly has gone up exponentially. So I think that's another thing we need to
Look at that.
look
That's
at.
also due to long-term subs,
Add that to
which
your
were
list.
in a different.
He's got a good list. I think we'll hear from him.
But I will say it's I would echo what you said. It's embarrassing when your child comes home from school and has had a sub and said, I had a terrible sub today. You just feel like, because we vote on those things, and it's embarrassing. So it's not just teachers, which I totally respect, and I've heard from quite a few, but students as well, and that's not good.
They'll sure come home and tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Chair, may I say one more thing?
Yes.
We've heard a lot tonight about our health insurance, and I'm not going to say anything that's collective bargaining, because I don't think it should be bargained. I think as a board, we need to address this. So, Mr. Superintendent, I'd like to ask you if you could put together numbers for the board, and you may have brought them at one time in the past. Maybe you could send them to the board again to let us know what it would cost for us to cover more than what we are, because this is shameful that our employees can't
through
make
the,
it. We have got to do something.
And I say this through the chair, I understand, because I have the same insurance as for me, and my wife told me the other day that, we're going to go to Florida Blue. She works for Florida Blue, and I have that opportunity to do that, but teachers do not. And I agree something has to be done. I will get that information back to you, but it's all about a cost factor, and I will review additional information that I will get with Mr. D'Agata to speak to, and then I'll bring that back in my follow-up.
I would appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
We've got to do something.
It's sad. I mean, we can all remember the day when
That's
we
a lot of
covered
money,
the employee. Zero. And it's gotten out of whack over the last 5
crazy.
years or so, and it needs to be addressed.
Mr.
Okay.
Davis, can
Oh,
your wife
something
get
else.
us a deal?
Excuse me?
Ma'am, I asked her, so through the chair, I asked her to come to the table and help us, because she works for Florida Blue. She so wants to.
It's worth a try. If you
think
don't
we should-
ask, we won't get
we
an
need
answer.
We need to back this.
Thank
Okay.
you.
He's getting a lot of homework over here, ladies. Okay. All righty, let's see. Adoption of consent agenda. There were no items pulled to discussion.
Move approval.
Second?
Who made them? Ms. Condon and Bola. It's good to have this on the cheat sheet so I can write down who did it. Okay. Hey, we didn't used to have that. Miss Bush is good. Just guides me right through this. Okay. So I'll entertain a motion. Yes, I have a motion from Ms. Condon, a second from Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Next is the CCEA update. Ms. Paiva?
Good evening, Renly Paiva, President of CCEA. First of all, I want to say something about First Book. We put 40,000 books in the hands of kids in Clay County, and it wasn't enough. We need another 80,000 books. There's such a need, and if you had, I think you all went, so you all saw the line, completely overwhelmed on the response. And Mr. Davis and I are talking about bringing First Book, bringing some more books, and hopefully do First Book 40,000 books. And we'll have to pay for it this time because we don't have enough. We won't have enough signatures in the short amount of time. And so we're looking at some dates maybe in May to be able to do that. So that was the first thing. It was a great experience. I think that we're the only county in Florida. There's 3 counties that have done this before. The other 2 counties have books left over. And we didn't have books left over, and it was absolutely stunning. So we are working, the CCA is working with one of those counties to try to steal, they have 7,000 books left, and we want them. So I think Betsy's been working on that today to try to get those, and the good thing, and okay. I'm sorry, I've just gone, I have so much things on my mind. I'm sure that we will be able to get more books than we had before, and there's certain things, but it was a great experience. First Book has asked us and asked Mr. Davis and I to do some things with them to promote because they couldn't believe how well it went in Clay County, except we simply didn't have enough books. That was the thing that I regret. But anyway, that's that on First Book. I'm sure I'll be able to update you on that the closer we get to it. And Mr. Davis, we need to have a lot of discussion. I sent you an email today on that. The other thing, insurance. Like I have said in front of this school board numerous times, do the right thing. For 7 years, you've not done anything in insurance. And we didn't have to bargain it because SASPA does. And they have it on the table. Because you have one insurance contract. You don't split an insurance contract, you have one. So it was a really thought-through process, but like I say, every time I get in front of you, do the right thing. Less than 2 years ago, we took the salary lapse of teachers, which now everybody understands what it means, and we took $4.1 million and bailed out your self-insured fund with it. You took $4.1 million of your salary lapse and bailed out the self-insured workman's comp fund with it in a blink of an eye. You need to take some of that and help and do the right thing with insurance. You can't go 7 years. This ties into Kelly Services. Because Kelly Services is the same, it was about insurance. We went with Kelly Services, we cut the pay of subs, what we paid them, and we saved $800,000. And there was a big celebration here. That $800,000, instead of putting it into insurance, because the day will come, was again used for general, like the salary lapse, has been used for historically in this county, after we got rid of steps. When you had steps, you didn't have to worry about salary lapse because steps was self-funding. So it was only after we decided we didn't have to give steps anymore that we had this salary lapse to even begin with. Now, Mr. Davis and Mr. Broski, I had brought up the sub situation with Mr. Broski for the last month. I wrote him 2 weeks ago And we met yesterday, Mr. Davis and I, and Mr. Broski, and we spent a great deal of time talking exactly about the sub situation and splitting of classes. We don't even have splitting of classes in our contract. It says if the sub doesn't show up, there is no sub. The principal will use any teacher. That means your coaches, your instructional staff, your curriculum specialists, and they become the sub. Because it is unfair to split classes and have a first grade class with 36 kids in it. You just then put them all in the cafeteria. Don't pretend you're teaching because you're not. And that's the situation. Insurance and the sub situation of this county has to be addressed. And all those teachers who spoke about the insurance situation, I agree 100% with. You, the onus is on you. Somewhere we have to find this money to be able to put money into the insurance, because look, Melissa's right. If we got a stop loss of 104% and we don't have in our contract they can only go up 10%, we're in dire straits. Thank you.
Okay, next, SASPA update. Ms. Dixon?
Hi, Teresa Dixon, President of SASPA. I want so bad to talk about insurance and I can't.
Oh.
So I will just be glad that everybody said everything that I would have liked to have said. What I do want to talk about, though, I would like to address what Ms. Morrison brought up regarding Kelly Services. You know, I spent, as I had said before, 22 years as a teacher's assistant in the special needs classrooms. And as a special needs teacher's assistant, you see a lot of what goes on. And whenever the teacher that you work with is absent, you're there to kind of fill that role. But they bring in a sub. And I have to say, just to give you some of the examples that I've worked with, provided by Kelly in a Clay County special needs classroom. I was in one class one time, well, actually across the hall from them, as they were expecting their Kelly sub to show up any minute. She was running a little bit late. She walked in the door, looked at our special needs students and said, "This is not what I signed up for," and left.
Goodness.
That's what you get. Another situation, I worked with a sub at one time that came into the classroom where I was working at, and she proceeded to read the newspaper through the entire class while the teacher's assistants ran the classroom, and then went home to check her dinner cooking in the middle of the day, and then came back later. I mean, these are not quality people that we want working with our children. We need our dependable subs back. We need them desperately. And your staff needs them too. We need people in the classroom. When you look at Kelly Services and you get a substitute for a teacher's assistant, especially in those special needs classrooms, these teacher's assistants must be able to be hands-on with the students, changing diapers, sometimes controlling behaviors, and so on. A Kelly Services sub cannot touch a student. They're a warm body sitting in a corner. It's a waste of money. So enough said about that. On to happier things. I do want to thank Renally and CCE A for all their hard work with the First Book program. They did a great job bringing 40,000 books into the county. She's right, wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. I want you to know SASPA is with you to do it again. We're going to work together and get things done. I know some of our bus drivers were transporting children to the event, and they were very distraught that they didn't get there in time. It just, everything went so fast, and it was very troublesome. And I think I've reached out and let you know that I did talk with AFT and that they are sending books, and they have arrived. I have gotten a first shipment of books. It's not many. We had 144 children that were scheduled to be on those buses, and we got 155 books. But we will make sure that a book gets in the hand of every one of those children who are being transported. Two of the schools that we were picking up from, Grove Park and Clay Hill, were here tonight, so we'll be seeing them soon, hopefully by next week. And then we have a second shipment coming later in December, so we'll be there again delivering those as well. But our goal is to get at least one book in the hands of each one of those children as soon as possible. I also wanted to let you know that today we had a great meeting with PDAC, Professional Development Advisory Council or Committee, I don't even know, the subcommittee which CESPA works with, and met with Ms. Mueller and had a very good conversation, identified and discussed several support professional development issues, and going to work together and get some answers, and just consistently building those relationships. I think it's really important. I thought it was a very productive meeting. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I just came back from FEA Delegate Assembly in Orlando last week, and one of the topics of discussion was bus driver shortages at the FEA Delegate Assembly. And I was very pleased, and my transportation department is also very pleased, that FEA has decided to adopt this as one of their new business items, addressing the need of the bus driver shortage, what's going on, identifying what the problem is, and developing some resources and some ways that we can work towards, first of all, recognizing the problem. It is a statewide problem, and trying to develop methods to improve the situation. So that's just an example of how your union is working together with your districts, recognizing and solving problems together, and I think we can do that. I think that's all I wanted to say, so thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the superintendent's update and presentation.
Okay, so before I get started, I don't know if anyone wants to make a prediction about how many slides I have this evening. Ms. Paiva? 27 is always the number. Anybody on the board? No? You may be shocked this evening to have 0 slides. Should be clapping for that. I know average reading 20, 25. I don't want to give a presentation just to give a presentation. Each of you have been working hard. I've been working hard. My team has been working hard. This board has been working hard. So this month is about being thankful. So I would say that to be thankful for what you have, who you are, your family, your loved ones, and just know that you're in a good spot in Clay County. I'm in a great spot. I'm thankful to be the superintendent in Clay County. I learn every single day how magnificent that this environment is. I am in schools every day, and those leaders and teachers and principals know I try to celebrate and acknowledge the hard work that I see every single day through my social media, and I'm thankful to be here. I'm also thankful of Ms. Paiva and in your first book initiative. You brought 40,000 books to our school district. It went in 2 hours, but really you only have 39,999 because I had a procedure a couple days before and I couldn't do anything. So I was doing I had a box cutter that I had to cut books, and boxes open for teachers, and I cut the top of the book. So I came back this week, and I got a bill from CCE A. I'm asking the board for an expenditure for $9.99 for the book, damaged book, Let the Good Times Troll, and it is signed Mrs. Paiva El Presidente. I got a card.
Oh, that's
so all this to say is thank you for your hard work. I will pay my fine because this is a book that one of the 444 kids on the bus could have received. I will make sure I'm going to take it home since I'm paying for it. All this to say thank you, Ms. Dixon, your legwork for getting this done, and Betsy as well. Thank you for your team, and this board was there supporting it, and I'm appreciative of it, and I'm thankful for y'all allowing me to continue to do great things in this county. And I'm appreciative. I say this because I won't see you all, each of you, as we transition to our break in a couple of weeks. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for believing in me, and know that we'll continue to evolve and get better in our processes. So thank you. My time.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. And thank you. I'm telling you.
Record time. Yeah. That will not happen next month. I'm just telling you, next month is game on.
Oh, dear. Okay, now we'll go.
Cannot delegate your time to another meeting.
Hey, we'll get that 3-minute timer on him. Okay, the discussion agenda, D1, school-wide name suggestions. I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve Discovery Oaks Elementary.
And I'll second. Oh, we all second.
There you go.
We all love it.
Okay, Ms. Condon made the motion, and I think everybody else seconded, so.
I think it was Miss Gilhousen who was first.
Ms. Gilhousen first, okay. Okay, any discussion?
I just love it. I thought it was just as cute as cute.
Okay, why don't you describe that and tell the audience so they'll know exactly what we're voting?
Can we put it up
Is
on
it up on the screen?
Overhead? There were 3 to choose from. One was Discovery Oaks Elementary.
And what's their mascot?
An astronaut.
Voyager.
The Voyager.
Voyager.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. Then there was
There
Bear
we go.
Creek Elementary,
The Cubs.
which is a bit of a stretch. And then Canopy Oaks Elementary, which I thought
Yeah, that
was
was
also
cute.
very
Cardinals.
cute.
I thought that was
But I really like the idea of, Mr. Davis was talking to us, and actually Dr. Stallman was talking about this, how this is going to be a STEM school and all the new and improved things that this school will have. All our other schools are going to be envious, and you're going to hear about it. But, and the location there, it just seems like it's a perfect fit.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was pleased that it was one of the choices.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, okay, there's no discussion about this. I think I am seeing smiles all the way down the board here. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. So our newest elementary school will be
Discovery Oaks.
Discovery Oaks,
Pretty cool.
the Voyagers.
Madam Chair, may I ask another question?
Yes.
Mr. Davis, at what point will you be naming a principal and going forward? What's the timeline?
So, great question. Me and my team were actually just talking about last night and again today, this morning, about potential candidates. I think what I want to do respectfully is open it up to individuals who are interested within this county. It will be a Clay County principal that we will move to this school. I want to open it up, and then I think in this opening up, and this, Dr. Stallman is, has a great plan that allow them to bring a vision for what this school would look like. So Dr. Kemp and his team are awesomely ready. The school is moving and rocking and rolling, but this is going to be a STEAM effect. We're going to add arts to it, and I'm interested to see. We have great, innovative, creative principals, and if they want to be a part of this school, I'm interested to see their plan, and I'm looking for someone who's excited about it. And so I say that as I'll probably start the interview process in the next couple of weeks, and then potentially bring you an allocation sometime, maybe December, January.
For clarification, is it only current Clay County principals, or is it open to assistant principals as well?
I will say that probably best practice is to have a seasoned principal open up a new school. So I would probably say sitting principals internally that we want to open this to. So not that an individual didn't have the ability and skill set, but year one as a superintendent was kind of hard. So year one as a new principal is very difficult, and open up a new school on top of that could be kind of a lot. So probably currently sitting principals that have been established in this county.
So the principal will be named in time to help
Yes, ma'am.
pick out colors
Yes, ma'am.
and so forth.
Yeah, we are doing a lot of that to take that off their plate so they can just focus on recruitment. And so, we want to get someone in there that can start recruiting, identifying talent, understanding curriculi, pushing it, and moving forward with all that information.
I just remember when we were doing Lake Asbury Junior, what a big thrill it was for the principal to pick the colors and everything.
Yes,
It was like personal.
home.
It was,
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
So you have somebody else picking colors?
Yes, ma'am. I have a team, not me, Addison Davis.
I want the
Are there women on there? No offense to the men.
Dr. Stallman, Miss Dennis.
And I would like the new principal to have a voice in that too.
Sure.
Him or her. And we definitely want more women on the committee than men.
Dr. Stallman, through the chair, you want to talk about what we're doing for a lot of stuff, for having a number of voices in
Right.
in
We're
play?
really excited about our approach. Dr. Kemp and I have been working together. We formed a committee of teachers in our county, principals in our county, and different stakeholders to help us start designing the vision of this. We had our first kickoff meeting last week, and everybody was giving their charge. They saw the blueprint of the school. They learned about what has come out of the ground already, what they can influence. Mostly our decisions are on furniture and equipment decisions. We've already picked a color palette. It's really beautiful. We all like it. We are going to be a STEM focused school, so we have art, music, PE, and media teachers going out across the state and looking at other models that are out there for us to kind of steal some good ideas from. And Dr. Kemp has us on a very tight timeline, so we'll be reporting back once they're finished with their direction. But we had 4 principals express interest early on, so we involved them in the very first committee work. We picked Teachers of the Year to be part of our committee work, and I left them planning. We were there for an hour and a half, and they were still there, excited and planning and strategizing. So I think we're going to see a really inviting school choice opportunity for our families in Clay County.
I hope you'll go, I'm sure down around the Space Center, that there's some schools that would be, we could go and maybe plagiarize a little bit.
We have a team going to Santa Rosa County on Sunday or Monday for a couple days. They're known as the STEM district in the state, although we will soon take that designation away from them if all goes well. And we also have a couple of our stakeholder committees going down to Seminole County and Pinellas County, where there's some great work going on as well. Again, we don't think they have anything on our vision, and so we hope to be the first to actually use our art, music, media, PE technology resource team to actually be the heart of our STEM and STEAM work at Discovery Oaks Elementary.
And through the chair, Dr. Kemp, anything you want to add of kind of what work we're doing right now? He knows on time, less money.
We're making really great progress with the school. If you haven't gone to the website, you can actually click on the live cam, the webcam that we have, and it does a fast forward, and it'll actually see from beginning to end. But it's really exciting. And if you haven't been by the Plantation Oaks, the Boulevard, have you been by Discovery Oaks Elementary School? It's growing up. It's going vertical. We're on time. We're on schedule, and we're going to beat that. That's the expectation all the time. So great work with the instructional teams. It's fun. It's fun work. It's a lot of work. Those content teams that Dr. Stallman put together for the facility planning, it's a huge responsibility. They're representing more than their own wishes. They're representing the content for years to come of what's going to happen inside that facility. So it's just great that we have a chance every 10 years to create a new standard and new expectations for our district moving forward. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and we're going to be on time. We're going to be on time and
under budget.
We're going to be on time and under budget.
I love it.
May I ask another question? And I am not trying to be the negative Nelly, but I feel like it's our responsibility. So Dr. Stallman, Mr. Davis, Dr. Stallman used the phrase a school choice opportunity. And I wasn't aware that we had decided this was going to be a choice school. So.
Yeah, through the chair, it's just a theme. It's a theme at the school.
Okay.
It's a neighborhood school.
That phrase carries.
I promise you would have been actively engaged prior to that. So yeah, it's theme based. No.
We would get the phone calls of the parents who think it's like Orange Park Elementary or something, a different. Thank you.
I think so. Okay. The next item, recommend approval of proposed settlement of all claims brought by plaintiff in Norton versus Clay County School Board, 4th Judicial Circuit in and for Clay County, Florida, case number 2015-CA-00145.
Move approval.
I have a motion by Ms. Bola.
I'll second.
By Ms. Caracas, second by Ms. Caracas. Any discussion? Okay, Mr. Daggett, did you want to say anything before we vote?
Thank you.
Okay. That's short and sweet. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, D3, readjustment of scores used for teacher evaluation, Ms. Kirikas, and I do have a card on this. In fact, I have two cards on this. Let's have the cards, and then I'll bring it back to you since you placed it on the agenda, okay?
Thank you.
All right, the first is C. DeMartolomis.
Good evening, Chase DeBartolomus, 339 River Reach Road, and that's Fleming Island, Florida. This is an email that I sent, I'm going to gloss over real quick to the school board members this week. Good afternoon, I wanted to reach out to you today because I'm very concerned about the state of affairs created by the district for the evaluations in 2016-17. When the 11th and 12th grade English teachers received an email from our union president, Ridley Paiva, stating that Mr. Davis agreed to use the FSA equivalent scores for last year's evaluations rather than the college readiness cut score, we rejoiced. None of us could figure out how something so simple and obvious could have slipped through the cracks last year, and the several teachers who were negatively affected by this were overjoyed that they would receive an accurate accounting for their score. Now it appears as though Mr. Davis has changed his mind again. He has decided that moving forward for next year we will use the appropriate FSA equivalent scores, but for some reason it's not good enough for this past year. If the district recognizes that these scores are unfair and will move forward with the new scores next year, why is that not good enough for this year's students? Or last year's students. I've spoken with the CAS committee members who were in a meeting where the vote was tabled to another meeting and was never revisited. The teachers of Clay County never agreed to these scores. Not the teachers, not the union members, not anybody in their right mind would agree to these measures, which are 10 to 15 points above district average. As teachers, we are charged with asking students to think critically, to come up with an appropriate solution, the solution that is most reasonable and logical in the context. Now I challenge you to think critically, just like we asked the kids about the situation. Why would any 11th grade teacher agree to a college readiness cut score as a measure of proficiency when their students are not supposed to be college ready yet? What exactly is the purpose of a 12th grade year in English if the students are already deemed to be college ready at the conclusion of 11th grade? My kids were in the 11th grade, meaning they still have the rest of the year and also their entire senior year to become college ready. And that's if they're going to go to college, since when is college readiness the measure of an 11th grade standard student? It shouldn't even be the measure for a 12th grade student either, because not everyone has to be college bound to master the skills in high school. This is discriminatory at worst and just plain ignorant at best. While some may say the 11 points on that test may not make a difference, let me assure you they do. With the college readiness scores in place, only 8 of 38 of my juniors passed. That's 8 kids in standard English at OPHS, a school with one of the lowest socioeconomic statuses in the county. Mind you, they're using the same score for standard as they are for honors, which already puts me at a disadvantage, being I was given 11th grade standard students and not lucky enough to get the honors kids last year. Honestly, reading back that statistic makes me feel pretty good. 8 of my standard kids at the school with one of the lowest socioeconomic statuses were college-ready proficient before the end of 11th grade. That number should probably read closer to 0. Now, if I take into account the much more reasonable and logical score that is being used for this year moving forward, 26 of 38 were proficient. 68% of my kids received at least the FSA concordant score, which is their true measure of proficiency, or at least a much closer representation. I'm not arguing that standard and honors should have different scores, even though they should. I'm also not arguing that 11th and 12th grade should have different scores, even though common sense says they should. What I'm arguing is that at the very least, we give these teachers and students a factor that does not set them up for failure. I deserve to have all of my students counted at a reasonable measure of proficiency. All of the teachers do. The students do as well. To ask that 11th grade students be college ready before the end of their 11th grade year is absolutely insulting and ridiculous. I've been teaching in Clay County for the last 10 years. I've been highly effective every year I've taught and was even one of the few from the county to receive the Florida High Impact Teacher Award last year. Because of this creative accounting this year and my score being calculated with only half my students, I've gone from highly effective to effective and am now ineligible for the Best and Brightest Scholarship that I've received every year since its inception. This is a major deal for me. As a 10th year teacher who has rarely received a raise and hasn't even been given his contracted experience steps in his tenure in Clay County, this money helps ease the burden of that misery. I've had to start a business on the side and sometimes work 3 other jobs to try to make ends meet. These are the sort of short-sighted decisions that will lead to the loss of teachers. From what I understand, there are 250 of us impacted by this. This makes Mr. Davis and the school board seem very unsympathetic to their teachers and an already unfair evaluation system, and appear as though they are unwilling to solve problems that are within their control.
Okay.
Thank you. Please help us.
3 minutes goes fast when you're up there trying to say so much. Okay, the last card is Elizabeth Davidson.
am Elizabeth Davidson, and you have my address on file. And I'm going to speak to Mr. DeBartolomeus's point. And I'm going to read it since somebody called me yesterday, irked about it, and knew I would be irked about it. No highly effective English teacher is ever going to give my child or any other child in Clay County less than their very best. Highly effective is an actual state designation on an evaluation, not a buzzword. So why would you insult the best teachers of all employees by being careless with an evaluation process you expect them to live up to literally chapter and verse since it's English teachers? Is that how outstanding leadership recognizes outstanding teachers for their remarkable inspiration and dedication? The state website states, quote, that each county shall set standard eligibility requirements to be reviewed and administered locally. It is clear who is responsible for the genesis of this current state of affairs. So I wonder why. This administration has espoused work ready for Clay County from day one. So it seems particularly ironic to mangle college readiness scores to mangle teachers' performance scores. And why suddenly, just for this year? What changed? What is different just this year? Is this a fixable oops, or since performance is tied to income, is an attempt to save money that strikes at the heart of education in Clay County? Its best teachers. They are the heart. They could teach without any of you. And you rotate out regularly. Them, the best stay for life. Any amount of income loss is life-changing money for most teachers. I wonder, is it to you? Because this seems either careless or callous. It most likely is life-changing money for some of these 250 teachers further down the food chain, as I've just heard. If the average great teacher spends $800 a year out of their own pocket, what must a highly effective teacher spend? I personally feel awful about this. Maybe someone could start a GoFundMe page. I feel compelled to meet with fellow parent constituent organizers. Perhaps we can speak to a local business about a fundraiser night to make up this shortfall for these teachers. This is shameful. I really do not want this kind of demoralization of my child's teachers to be a part of the climate and culture of our school or any school in Clay County. So to reduce this to terms we, non-teacher, parent constituent type simple folks can understand. The lesson to my child and every child in Clay County is this: do your best, your absolute very best, on everything you do in school, everything. Give 100% and then do all the extra credit you can get your hands on. Give 100%, okay, I said that already, on everything you do in school. But we've mangled the scale you're to be measured by. 100% is now AC. Best you can do. You're still highly effective, but we're going to call you effective. That's what we're going to drop your grade to. And do it again next year, and the year after that, and maybe the year after that. Oh, and kids, read the fine print, if you can find it buried in the emails. You, 11th grade standard English, 20 plus to a class students will be measured for college readiness against seniors and honor seniors, some of whom may only have 10 students in their class. We're asking more and more of the future of all Clay County from the highest impact English teachers in Clay County. Why are you making it harder for them to survive and to continue to teach in Clay County? Our family doesn't love teachers, we revere them. They protect us from stupidity, and I thank you for the opportunity to do the same for them. And Mr. DeBartolomeus, I know you. I didn't know this affected you. I am so sorry. I am aggrieved that we have shorted you in this way.
Okay, I'll bring this back to Ms. Kirikas, who placed this item on the agenda.
I did. First of all, before we have discussion, we have to have a motion, and my motion is to table this indefinitely, and I will explain why when we move forward with it.
I'll second.
So I agree 100% with Mr. DeBartolomeus and Ms. Davidson. This is appalling that this is happening. This is costing $7,200 to people who are the best and brightest. This should never have happened. And I'm going to tell you, I've done a lot of research and talked to the superintendent and staff and our attorney and Ms. Paiva, and unfortunately, the CAS committee met and didn't get to choose the cut scores, and the prior superintendents and his administration had the authority to just set it, and they set it. And our superintendent, I don't believe, based on the legal opinion from our attorney, has the authority to change it. And I do applaud you, Mr. Davis, for correcting it for this year, but it saddens me that Our highly effective teachers who have been highly effective every year now have an effective on their resume, and they've budgeted this into their income. This is a lot of money, and it's not, I'm not pointing the finger. I applaud you for correcting this for this year, but this was set by prior administration, and I'm just laying blame where blame goes. This is not something that the board has the authority to go back and change from what our legal counsel has told us. And based on that, we can't vote on it, which is why I'm just tabling it indefinitely. Mr. Daggett, did you want to give the legal opinion and add anything to that?
You know, I'll leave to another day the authority, who makes decisions, final and binding decisions with respect to cut scores and the work of CAS and so on and so forth. The fixable oops is a good term here. Is this a fixable oops? I can tell you, I really have dug into this and done quite a bit of research. And the fact is that each way we turn here, this oops isn't fixable through retroactive changes to the 2016-17 evaluation system that was submitted to and approved by DOE. As we all know, that has a real-world impact on best and brightest, an unfortunate one, and best and brightest is also the subject of an ongoing federal lawsuit now. A lot of moving parts, and through my research, I only saw legal challenges ahead that ultimately prohibit us from fixing the oops by retroactively changing the evaluation system.
So, may I ask a question on that? On what he just said?
Yes.
So, we can't appeal to DOE and say that we have minutes from a CAS committee meeting where this was tabled, it was not revisited, none of the people who made that decision, to my knowledge, are even still on our payroll. They don't represent Clay County. They don't represent the wishes of this superintendent or this board. I just don't understand why we can't go back and at least make an appeal and ask the question. And I mean, if you had said to us, I called DOE and they said no, and maybe you did, but the unintended consequences of this are huge. No one in Clay County is supporting this today. I don't know why DOE wouldn't say, it's not like we're saying we're only going to apply it to certain teachers in our county. We're going to apply, we want to apply, well, I want to apply it to all the teachers, and however, to fix the system. It was changed for 1 year, so it's not even like we're asking to deviate to go back, you know, a long time, to even the 4 years of that previous superintendent. So I don't understand why they wouldn't be willing to at least work with us on it and to show them the impact that it makes on these 250 teachers. That's not like it's one or two, even if and they would matter, but 250 is a lot. It's 10% of our, or almost 10% of our teachers, and they know about the teacher shortage across America. This could drive people from the profession, because if you can't pay your bills, you'll find a different career.
Okay, before anybody else, Mr. Davis asked if he could make a statement, so I want to give him the floor now.
Thank you, and I can help answer some of that questions. And I guess to Mr. D. Bartolomus, I apologize if I. Please know that my administration, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, we don't own the establishment of what happened in 16-17. I came in the middle of the movie, so the superintendent owns setting the cut scores. The CAS committee is their job to recommend cut scores. That's what the CAS committee's there for. But the superintendent owns the direction in which the cut scores will be. That is my role. Coming in, the reason we can't go back and change any type of numbers or cut scores, because now it's directly tied to funding and money. And I believe that they would be, for lack of better terms, and I'm sorry if I say this, put me in a spot to say it something differently. I don't want the DOE looking at us and thinking that we're gaming a system in some type of way, shape, or form in order to to make more teachers qualified. And the number it initially started at 250, and I believe it's around 140, 139. I can get the numbers to the board so that you'll have it. From my side, I do believe, and I think, and I hope I demonstrated this and exemplified this when I worked with the CAS committee, that we worked in the last 2 weeks rigorously to identify multiple facets and measures in order for teachers to hit the qualifications of effective and highly effective. We did reduce the cut score, and we're all talking about the PERT, so everyone knows. The PERT score was set as college readiness, which is 114 and 106. And if we're saying that graduation requirements is 97 is good enough for graduation requirements, I believe it should be the threshold as well for a teacher to be deemed or identified as highly effective. So moving forward, know that we have worked on this and we are working in that direction. I just don't have the legal ability to go back and change it, nor do I want to put my ethics on the line to push that. I can't erase what happened. I could only focus on what we do collectively moving forward, if that makes sense. So, Ms. Davison, thank you for speaking. I support it. I understand it. I get it. I wish I could change it. I just professionally cannot, if that makes sense. But I value your work.
Ms. Gilhousen, you asked to speak.
I just had a question. Can you explain the rationale for why we use proficiency as the measure for highly effective versus effective instead of gains? Because to me, it makes more sense that if a teacher takes students from one point in the year and moves them to a higher point, they've done their job and they've done it well. So I don't understand.
There's a pure balance of it. I mean, ultimately, you're measured on proficiency is where we're absolutely measured on. Our kids, and proficiency is at grade level. We should hold that measure as for kids to be at grade level. Are you demonstrating grade level, grade level standards? Can you demonstrate the ability to be successful in those grade level standards? And then moving forward to enrichment. The enrichment piece of moving away up above grade level was college ready. So spoke beautifully of fact of, hey, are our kids meeting the proficiency standpoint? Are they being college ready? There's a difference between the two. Mm-hmm. Gains are something that we want to see across the board annually and everywhere. We want to see a minimum of 1 year gain in every one of our students. Some make it, some don't. Some make 2 year gains. But ultimately, we don't put it on gains. We put it on proficiency because that's what the state truly holds us accountable for, is for kids to meet grade level standards in a year. They do have measures for gains, and those are for kids who are at risk or making certain that kids move from one grade level to another level and exhibiting the gains, but it's more about proficiency, I would say.
But I disagree, though. I just feel like we're penalizing teachers who take the most difficult classes. And you're putting an unrealistic expectation on children who are physically or mentally not capable of grade level. And I just don't think it's a fair measure for teacher effectiveness, and I'd like for us to, I know we don't get to decide that, but for the CAS committee to take that into consideration.
So through the chair, I own this process, and I've already taken a number of measures to address all of that.
Any more comments from the board?
She just took what I was going to say.
I have another comment.
Ditto.
Mr. Davis, you're probably not going to like what I'm about to say.
That's okay.
I would just encourage everybody to appeal. And I know that the appeal process is closed as far as appealing for the cut score, but you explained to me earlier, appeal the students and the test and whether they were counted or not. And I know, one particular person, a liberal arts math teacher who has ESC students, who has kids with active IEPs, and the cut score was 114. I had a student that was an ESC student that would not have been able to reach that, and that teacher is being evaluated on these kids. And some of his students weren't counted because when the test was taken, and then others, it was a different test that was used, so they used PERT on some and not on another. And I would encourage everybody to pick it apart and appeal everything you can. And Mr. Davis, if there's any way possible that you personally can look at them,
yes, ma'am.
I would appreciate that,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
this is horrible what we're doing to our staff, and we are going to lose teachers, and nobody's going to want to teach those children that are not your AP and your IB students and your gifted students. We're going to have a hard time finding people to teach everybody, and every child out there deserves our best teachers.
ma'am.
And we know you are all the best. We honestly do.
Agree.
So please,
Yes, ma'am.
whatever you can do in that appeals process to help, we appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still not satisfied. I'm frustrated that we're not willing to go have the conversation with DOE. And it's not a gamesmanship. I think you go in there and you have a professional conversation. They exist, the state DOE exists to support the 67 school districts. There's only 67 of us. And I think that I would want to know, I mean, I understand that you said that the plan got approved, but I think it's a worthwhile conversation to say, look, we had a superintendent change, so that superintendent is no longer in charge of this school district and wasn't for the majority of the school year last year. And this was never voted on by the CAS committee. I think there's a whole bunch of reasons to ask them to at least look at it and maybe even just extend that appeal window back open or something, do something for them. I'm just so, it's beyond me that, and we didn't know about this. We're coming in at the end of the movie. But it's mind-boggling to me, and I don't believe that we have a legislature who believes that best and brightest rewards the best and brightest teachers, and we know that doesn't happen. But then when we're going to penalize really, really good teachers in our district because of something that isn't, because we chose as a district to give PERT because it was cheap, because they made us do something, because they have a teacher measurement system in VAM, and I guess I just feel like it's, and I don't think they would question your ethics. I don't think they would question Clay County Schools ethics. I think if we just go in and say, look, a mistake was made and we need to fix it, and let us fix it. They let us fix things on the audit. When we have the audits and they come back and the financial audits and things, they let us go back and fix those. They're surely all about taking more money from us when we've made a financial error in that direction too. I just feel like, and maybe you don't like that, and I understand it's yours, you run the district, but it's just really beyond me that we can't ask.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
if the ask is about, or the conversation is about, there was an error in the process, it's not about the results, it's not about, we don't make the case about how many of our teachers are affected, even though that's egregious. If we just make the case that there was an error on the previous administration's part in the process, and we're looking to rectify that, I would think there's at least an argument to be made, and the worst they can say is no. So I don't think it's...
Yes, ma'am. And through the chair, I openly say there wasn't an error. The superintendent and his staff selected a cut score, and they submitted the cut score. So the process was, there wasn't an error in the process. What there was is not, I guess, best practice to listen to the committee that identified, or engaged committee identifying a cut score. The superintendent had every ability to set the cut score, in which they did. I can't confirm or deny that Mr. Broski didn't reach out to DOE. I will find that out for this board and for everyone as well. If he did, I will give you the response. If he did not, I will ask and we will reach out. But I will tell you, we spent a lot of time on this. Yeah. We had multiple legal responses and all this stuff in order to make our decision. Hence the reason why, hey, we can think about doing this. Oh, we can't do it from a legal standpoint. So I won't say anymore. I'll do my due diligence and give some feedback.
It just doesn't make sense that you would have a sophomore class of liberal arts math and expect them to be college ready. They've got 2 more years to go.
Yep.
And they're kids that have active IEPs. Right. It's mind-boggling that that's what was chosen to be set.
But in addition, we've got teachers who have been highly effective for years.
Absolutely.
And teachers who have gotten this best and brightest. And when they're now not able to get those, and the teachers who are wanting to go into the administration, who are not highly effective. So now they've missed that 3-year cut for 3 years of highly effective to be considered for the administration pool as well. It's incredibly unequal.
Well, can we do something about that?
Yeah, I can.
Waiver on that. I mean, this
through,
is their reputation.
Yeah,
I mean, these are their careers, and they pride themselves on this.
And through the chair, absolutely. That I can handle. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to talk after everybody finishes.
But I want everyone to know that I get it. I understand it. I'm not fighting this process. I see a lot. I mean, you will see in my administration what we do for the CAST accountability moving forward for this year. You will be greatly appreciative. I would say that. So know that. I'm good.
Okay. Any more discussion? I'm going to wait and say something. I couldn't agree more with all 4 of you ladies. I'm embarrassed that we are treating our teachers this way. It's embarrassing. One of you made the comment, who would want to take those classes? Nobody in their right mind is going to take these classes when they're going to get hit over the top of the head. I mean, we're talking people trying to pay their bills. This is their livelihood and their reputation, and they take pride in being highly effective. I'm really galled that we were first told that the CAS committee, that it was agreed on and talked about at the meeting, and I don't believe it was. I do not believe it was. I've had too many people who sat in on that meeting said it never was discussed. They didn't really have a part in it. But we can't unring the bell. But I do agree with you. What have we got to lose but to get our act together and get our talking points and go and appeal this, and surely there's somebody reasonable over there. This is just wrong, and one of the teachers spoke tonight about an injustice when you fight for things that you know are right, and I think all five of us are in total agreement. I think even Mr. Davis agrees with us on this. We just are trying to figure out how we can make this better, but we've got to have a good strategy, and this should have never happened. Never in a million years would any of us have dreamed that this was going to happen. So, Mr. Superintendent, I want you to try to find us a way get through this and not hurt these teachers.
Yes, ma'am. I'll
Okay?
do my best.
Okay. Do the best you can.
I will.
I know you can work a miracle.
I'll try.
Okay. So, we had a motion to table, and we motion by Ms.
Caracas?
I wrote it down somewhere, by Ms. Caracas and a second by Ms. Condon. Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Human Resources, there were no special actions. D5 is a public hearing to approve as advertised amendments to the 2017 through 2018 admissions and placement manual included in school board policy. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address this item? I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Condon and Gilhousen? Okay. Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, school board attorney remarks.
None, thank you.
Oh boy, man of few words. School board member remarks. Well, I'm going to, instead of starting at the end every month, I'm going to start at the end. Next month I'll start at next, and then everybody's going to get to be first sometime. Okay, Ms. Gilhousen, you go first.
I'm going to let Ms. Bola go first. We'll start with somebody
Ms. Bola,
new
you
tonight.
go first
Yeah.
then.
It's a night for
Remember
change.
now, next month, that Ms. Bola went first, so I want everybody to have a turn
Do
to
we
go
have that in the
first.
minutes? We've got that in the minutes, I hope. Thank you. All right. Just a couple of things. Last week, I was able to attend the legislative platform for the FSBA, where we whittled down from 40-some ideas as to what would be on the platform to 5 major areas with supporting documentation and more talking points to come. Measuring student performance, here again going into provide students in all grades options for demonstrating mastery of standards by using additional student performance measures, broadening those opportunities for our students to prove their efficiency. hiring experienced educators. This I thought was interesting. This was proposed to provide school districts with options to ensure the availability of qualified and experienced school leaders, instructional staff, and support personnel. And one of the ways in which they would be doing this would be to authorize school districts to reemploy school-based administrators, teachers, substitute teachers, and other instructional support personnel after 1 month of retirement versus 1 year of retirement. I thought that was an interesting thought that was highly recommended by a number of different districts. Obviously, keeping communities and students safe, students first, provide students education professionals and communities with safe, well-maintained learning environments and shelter facilities by reestablishing the authority for school districts to levy up to 2 mills. And that probably had one of the highest votes in all. The opportunity for us to recoup some of our public funds, supporting public school choice, allowing for addendums to the standard contract that have been agreed upon by the school board and the charter school applicant, and leveraging the use of federal funds, maximize the efficient use of federal Title I funds, and avoid duplication of services. By restoring district level control and coordination of the use and distribution of these funds, et cetera, to ensure that we have the money available for our Title I schools and students. That was my first effort in the legislative agenda meeting, and it was very interesting, very interesting. Some of the items that were brought forward I thought were somewhat ludicrous, obviously, and some that were also incredibly important to us and to a number of other school districts weren't considered important enough to put on this particular platform. Other than that, I just wanted to say that Veterans Day is around the corner, and I wanted to do a shout out to District 4. I requested invitations to music events and a variety of different things, and boy, oh boy, did they produce. And I'm very happy that many of the schools did not all plan a concert for Thursday night before Veterans Day is celebrated, that there is literally something to do every night this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even coming up tomorrow night, Friday night, celebrating SBJ's 50th anniversary. But the fact that all of these schools are doing some marvelous things to honor the veterans, and so many of our parents are going to be in attendance there because they are our veterans. So a thank you to all those who serve in so many different ways. Very much appreciated. That's it.
Okay, I'm going to keep coming this way. Ms. Kirikas?
All right. I'll keep it very brief. I just really want to brag about First Book. It was so much fun. We were there 2 days. We helped set up, some of us. Wow. When that truck got there and Miss Piver was driving the tractor, the backhoe, taking those books out, I said, oh my goodness, she can do everything. And it was amazing the next morning when we saw all those kids come in and all our teachers come and people just leave them with books. Wow. I never expected it to go so quick. 2 hours and all those books were gone. That just amazed me. But you had such great work. Everybody that there was helping you, your staff, your volunteers, you had people, tons of people helping. It was great. We had students from Bannerman that were out there. We had just tons and tons of people, our bus drivers. It was really a collaborative effort, and it's certainly worth doing again. All 5 board members were out there. We were so proud of you, and I just want to say thank you for putting 40,000 books in our kids' hands, and I'm looking forward to the next 80,000. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Condon?
I have a few more things written down than I guess everyone else. I wanted to send our boards congratulations. I'm sure you all would agree, to Beth Sweeney, the legislative person in St. Johns County. Last week she had her baby, little Wellesley or something like that. And Beth's husband is also a lobbyist, so they're hoping that they can recuperate and get back to session in January. That's her goal, allegedly. But Also, I've been meaning to say for a couple of months, I was able to attend the cyberbullying presentation done by the Clay County Sheriff's Office at First Baptist Middleburg, maybe in August. I can't remember when I went. It was either, I think it was before the hurricane, and I just kept forgetting to tell you all. If you have an opportunity to attend one of theirs, they do them all over the county, and I learned a lot, and I think it was worthwhile for parents, but if you have an opportunity, that is well worth it. Deputy Paget and Deputy Hawkins do that. They do a great job. They kind of play off each other, and Deputy Hawkins was actually one of our resource officers at Middleburg High School last year, so that's very good. And then I also attended the FSBA Board of Directors meeting and the legislative because of my role on the Federal Relations Committee, and both days we had a little speaker who was has a name that's familiar, and her name is Kim McDougall, and she is now with a company called Gray Robinson, one of the many lobbying firms in the state. She, as recently as June 30th, was Governor Scott's chief of staff, and she's worked her whole career in and around the legislature, and she knows how to get things done. And she said some things that were very poignant to me, and I don't know if they would be to anyone else, but I'm just going to share two tonight. And one of those was, she said, get started early on your legislative platforms. And we have been way behind the curve. So when you want to start working toward something, she said, we really should start it for the next session as soon as this session ends. So if we wait until next fall, we'll lose 6 months. So I'd like for the board to consider that. And then the other thing that she encouraged us all to do was to have some wins. And what she meant by that was find some things that are proposed by legislators across the state that we can get behind. One of the ones that she recommended was that legislators can visit schools. Well, certainly we would never discourage legislators from visiting schools. So certainly, yes, we would welcome that. I'm sure you all would welcome that. But there are some things like that, because she said schools, school board members, and really everyone involved in education across the state goes to Tallahassee always telling them how much we're unhappy with, but we never have anything positive to say, and she really feels like that's something that could help us to build some bridges and build some relationships to get things done. So I just wanted that to be put forth for consideration. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Gilhousen.
Oh, wait, I had one more thing. So I will say I'm in the Keystone Heights Homecoming Parade tomorrow. And I went out and bought...
Are you the homecoming queen?
I'm not, but I bought clearance Halloween candy so I can throw the good candy out.
You had leftover Halloween candy.
Right, no, half off.
Okay, Ms. Gilhousen.
I'll keep it brief, but October has been a good month. I feel like September was really difficult for our county in a lot of ways. And it was nice this month to visit fall festivals and field trips and all the fun things with the kids surrounding Halloween. I have a son at Fleming Island Elementary, so I went to their little storybook character parade, and it's just such a fun time of year with little ones. So Veterans Day is on the horizon, and I want to say thank you to all of those who have served and all of those who hold the fort down at home while our men and women are away. And as we look forward to Thanksgiving, I would just challenge us each to be reflectful this month on all the things that we have to be thankful for. And what a great county we live in. I think that's a primary thing to be thankful for this month. So that's it.
Okay. Boy, by the time you get up here, everything's been said. With the Veterans Day coming up, of course, this being a heavily military community, we do want to always honor our veterans. Thanksgiving, my family's favorite holiday. They love it. Eat, 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 eat. But I hope that you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Rena Lee Paiva, I told you, my hat's off to you. I have never seen such an undertaking. And it's to the point that my youngest daughter, who lives in Atlanta, she wants to know all the details. How did we get 40,000 books? What did she do? So you may have created a monster up in Atlanta. I don't know. Do they? I don't know. But it was phenomenal. The only sad part of that whole day was about 2.5 hours after it started, when I walked outside and the line was around the building, down to the stop sign, and then had started curving around again, and we didn't have enough books. But we'll all be there to help again, give out books out, and those who were on the buses who got turned around, we just want to make sure they're first in line next go around. They'll get all the books that they can get. I mean, it was phenomenal. What are you grinning about? Okay, you've got some homework. We want to know all you can tell us about Kelly Services. I am concerned about our bus driver situation. I know they said it's not just Clay County, but when we start getting 30 bus drivers calling in on a given day, and we don't have but 15 to fill those seats, you may be driving a bus soon. I don't have a commercial license. Do y'all have a commercial? But I mean, seriously, something's wrong, and we've got to correct this, because this gets our kids to and from school. And I shudder to think about someone who doesn't know the route taking the kids to school, and then some are having to go back and double and do another route, and it's a situation we have to take care of that. And then the teachers, I felt good after listening to the conversation tonight. I think all 6 of us sitting up here want good things to come for our teachers, and so you've got a lot to do. I guess we're going to be getting 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Y'all notice that he doesn't sleep, that he sends emails out all day and all night. Yeah.
Chair, I'm getting a lot better.
At least we didn't have a lot of.
A lot better.
You're doing better.
Thank you.
You're doing good. Thank y'all for coming tonight. I want to thank y'all for the chairmanship again. I'm hoping it's like riding a bike, and that it'll all kind of come back, but each time it's like starting all over again. But I thank you, and we've done 1 day of master board, and we've got a couple more sessions to attend, and we'll all be singing Kumbaya after that. Right, girls? Okay. With that, I will say the meeting is adjourned, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Connor, I'm going to wait a couple more days. We got 75% off.